Florida Highway Patrol in particular. I'll also add that we're going to give some details about what we know. We're not going to comment on what we don't know. And we're not going to take questions during this particular press conference. After we speak, we will deliver information through the normal flow of communication to our public affairs officers. What I can tell you as far as what we've been briefed on and what we're aware of to be fact is that I was notified at 3:29 a.m. This morning by Colonel Howes that there was believed to be an imminent line of duty death, that the state trooper was still with us, but it was not looking very positive. Thereafter, we traveled with senior members of the command to the hospital here in St. Lucie County, and we had an opportunity to meet the family, and were subsequently informed that we lost one of the members of the Florida Highway Patrol. During that time period, and we're going to talk about him by name in just a moment, but I want to share with you some of the interactions and emotions that we had with the family. The trooper is left behind a fiance, a stepmother that was essentially his mother, and his father. Trooper Zachary Zink was 26 years old, and Colonel Howes will talk about his history with the Florida Highway Patrol, a very proud history. And he was a beloved trooper within his troop here in Troop L. We got to share some interactions with the family, who obviously were very distressed about losing their loved one. We were, of course, surrounded by hundreds of law enforcement officers and firefighters. We then learned more about what actually happened. Trooper was in the process of apprehending a fleeing felon on the interstate. During the course of that pursuit, as I understand it, the fleeing felon attempted to do a U-turn. State trooper executed a U-turn and was involved in a very serious crash that took his life, and unfortunately also the life of the gentleman driving the semi-truck. It is a horrific outcome, and it's one that hurts us dearly. From there was a continuation of the pursuit, as I understand. The suspect eventually crashed his vehicle and fled the scene. There was a manhunt. All these members of law enforcement and their respective departments participated. At this time, we do have one suspect in custody, and Colonel Howes will brief you in a little bit more detail on what he is aware of as well. While we were at the hospital, we were able to perform a very dignified procession to the medical examiner's office with the family, with the state trooper. We were able to spend time with him and say our final goodbyes. And then the procession occurred to the medical examiner's office, and then we came straight here. Our goal throughout this investigation, this is a very serious investigation. This is a very high-level briefing that we're giving you, but our goal is to give you as much detail as possible. But given that it is a very active criminal investigation with, as I understand, 3 parties deceased at this point because of a subsequent crash that happened after the manhunt was completed, we have to make sure that we get this exactly right, as we always do. Trooper Fink is a hero. Trooper Fink died in the line of duty. As his stepmother relayed to me, that since he was 6 years old, all he's ever wanted to do was help people. And if you think about the manner in which he lost his life today, it was the very essence of helping people. He was in the active pursuit of a felon. He was protecting his community from harm, and he gave his life and sacrifice for the protection of the ones that he loved and people that he didn't even know. And in my short time at this department, I think that's come to define what it means to be a state trooper and what it means to be a law enforcement officer. This agency has a proud history since 1939. We're celebrating our 85th anniversary this year, and this will mark the 53rd state trooper that we've lost in the line of duty. We honor his service, we pray for all the families who have lost loved ones today, and we remain hyper-focused and solely focused on bringing justice through the criminal justice process and the criminal justice system. At this time, I'll turn it over to Colonel Gary L. Howes II of the Florida Highway Patrol, and then we'll have some other speakers as well. Colonel?
Good afternoon. I think it's afternoon, but Colonel Gary Howes of your Florida Highway Patrol, and some of the information I'm going to relay to you is a little repetitive from Director Kerner, and thank you, Director Kerner. He's Governor DeSantis appointed a director earlier this year, and it has been a breath of fresh air for the Highway Patrol, and we thank you for your leadership, sir. Just to provide a little bit of a timeline for you, at 2:40 a.m., St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office had contact with a white Kia. A deputy sheriff identified a white Kia on West Midway Road. The vehicle was driving reckless, at least twice the legal speed limit, and the deputy sheriff attempted to do a traffic stop. And as she approached the suspect vehicle, took off. A short pursuit ensued, after which the deputy sheriff disengaged. The vehicle continued off, and 8 minutes later, at 2:48 a.m., Trooper Zachary Fink identified the same vehicle. From what we understand now, we don't know that he had any idea that it was related to the earlier incident. But he identified this vehicle driving in a reckless manner, again, well over the speed limit, but most importantly, it got his attention as being reckless and endangering the public. Trooper Fink attempted to stop the vehicle, which he refused to stop. A pursuit ensued. Trooper Fink, while behind the vehicle attempted to enter onto the southbound lanes of Interstate 95. As the white Kia entered those southbound lanes, the driver made an abrupt turn to travel the wrong direction on Interstate 95. Trooper Fink, in an attempt to continue to apprehend the subject and or warn unsuspecting motorists of the immediate danger in the area, turned also with the vehicle and unfortunately turned into the immediate path of a semi-tractor trailer, which struck the left driver's side of his patrol car. As the director mentioned, unfortunately, the truck driver was pronounced deceased on scene, and Trooper Fink was critically injured and airlifted to Longwood Regional Medical Center, after which he also succumbed to his injuries. The white Kia then continued the wrong direction on the interstate, now being pursued by sheriff's deputies and state troopers. Other state troopers that were in the immediate area at the time of the collision with the semi-truck remained there and provided first aid and attempted life-saving measures to the truck driver and also to Trooper Fink. And as I said earlier, unfortunately, the truck driver, a professional driver, did not survive. As the vehicle fled, it was eventually involved in a crash. It struck a tree, ran off the road, and struck a tree. The suspect fled on foot, after which a manhunt ensued involving multiple agencies. And I would like to thank specifically Sheriff Pearson, Sheriff Staley, all of our local law enforcement agencies that was immediately on scene and helped with those efforts. And specifically the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, who not only on scene assisted us, but also has continued on and is taking the lead on the criminal investigation of this incident. The multi-agency search did identify a person of interest, and that person was apprehended at 8:06 a.m. Again, it's an ongoing criminal investigation, and beyond that, I'm not able to talk at this time about the person that's in custody. But again, I would like to thank the sheriffs, both of them, and our local law enforcement for their unwavering support. A little bit about Trooper Fink. As the director said, Trooper Fink was 26 years old. 3-year veteran of your Florida Highway Patrol. He graduated from the 146th Basic Recruit Class in December of 2020. His first duty assignment was in Troop D, Orlando, which covers the Central Florida area. After serving his proper time, the minimum service that he has to do there, he transferred to this area. This was home for him. So he transferred to Troop L. Port St. Lucie was the city of assignment, and he worked this district for a short amount of time, where his family resides. The director mentioned his mother, his father, his fiance are all residents of St. Lucie County. I tell our recruits when they graduate that they raise their right hand and they take a solemn and binding obligation to protect and serve our community. But the truth is, they take that obligation, but their family bears the burden of that. And we recognize that, and our thoughts and our prayers remain with the Finks during this difficult time. And they're part of our Highway Patrol family and will remain a part of that family forever. Trooper Fink's family, as the director said, relayed to us that at age 6, he told his mom and stepmother that, you know, Mom, I just want to help people, at age 6. And that today, he was living his dream, doing just that as a Florida State Trooper. The sacrifice that law enforcement, first responders make every day, we hear the term, they've made the ultimate sacrifice. And that's really a misnomer, because the sacrifice is in life, not in death. The sacrifice is not being there for special events with your family. It's not being there for breakfast in the morning that Zach's not going to be out with his fiance. The sacrifice is in life. He was tragically taken from us by a felon, a fleeing felon, a criminal, and that's a tragedy. Again, I'd like to thank our law enforcement partners, and again, just remind you this is very preliminary, and if more information is learned and we're in a position that we can release further details that are accurate, I promise you we will do that in the normal means, as the director said. So thank you. Sheriff Pearson.
It's an extremely tragic event that we seen unfold today. At the second crash site, a massive manhunt did ensue, and it wasn't for just the sheriff's office alone. We had FDLE, we had the city of Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce Police Department, U.S. Marshal Services, and our 2 adjoining counties, Martin County Sheriff's Office and Indian River County Sheriff's Office. All working together, we were able to take a suspect into custody, which we're currently interviewing. And we're going to make sure that, working close with the Florida Highway Patrol and the Traffic Homicide Unit, that we'll be able to provide justice to Trooper Finks, the truck driver himself, and the family as well. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Chief Del Toro.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here today, again, for this tragic moment in law enforcement. On behalf of Mayor Martin, our City Council, and our entire family at the City of Port St. Lucie, I want to offer our deepest condolences to our family at the Florida Highway Patrol and to also the Fink family. I'm very proud and thankful today for our officers, deputies from all the agencies that responded and the collective efforts they did. It was the absolute definition of teamwork. It was a massive, massive manhunt this morning that lasted over 4 hours, and we were able to bring this suspect into custody. It was very dangerous to this community, as evident by the crash that happened and the ensuing crash that happened after that. But I'm very thankful for their efforts and very proud and honored to have participated in this in honor of Trooper Fink and his dedicated service to this community. So thank you all again for being here.
Were there any other law enforcement officials or officers that wanted to make any comments before we make our final comments? So there's nothing else that I could add that hasn't been said, but I think we should take this moment as a community. You know, St. Lucie County, the Treasure Coast, the state of Florida has a proud history of supporting its law enforcement officers. We have no doubt that the Fink family and these law enforcement officers will be overwhelmed with the love and support that is put back into the sacrifice that was made today. And it also comes at a very sensitive moment in the history of the Florida Highway Patrol. As we recall, Trooper Joseph Bullock was shot and killed on I-95 4 years ago in Martin County, just south of here, on February 5th of 2020. The Florida Highway Patrol and its partner agencies will recognize and continue to grieve the loss of Trooper Bullock as we also find our way through the loss of our current state trooper, Zachary Fink, who we lost today. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate your support. We appreciate your sensitivities as we work through a very complex and very serious criminal investigation. Again, that criminal investigation is being led by St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, and the traffic homicide portion of this case will be led by the Florida Highway Patrol. As I stated earlier when we started this press conference, following the conclusion, which is very shortly, our normal communication channels will flow through our public affairs officers at the Florida Highway Patrol and through the other PAOs at the other agencies. We thank you again for your patience and your time, and that will conclude our press conference.
Mr. Colonel, can you at least talk about the criminal history of the suspect?
Could you clarify, you said 3 deaths initially, and there's only 2?
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Miranda with the Florida Highway Patrol Public Information Office. At this time, we're not disclosing information in regards to the subject or his criminal history. This is still an ongoing investigation. We will disclose more of his identity and his information and his history once we have concluded a little bit more of the investigation at this time.
Can you talk about the current state of traffic? Right now, we know I-95 was shut down north and south for a while. Is there an update what drivers can expect during that area?
It is suspected that it's going to be shut down for a little bit longer. We don't have exactly an ETA or estimated time that it's going to be open. We are currently doing a lot of measurements. This is a very in-depth investigation. Just north of that, we also had another traffic fatality. I am going to touch base on that before going into that case. I will conclude with it's very sad, a sad day for the Florida Highway Patrol. We mourn with the family, not only of our trooper, but also with the family of the truck driver who unfortunately lost his life within this case as well.
So there are 3 deaths here? You mentioned 3 at the top of the press.
At this time, we're speaking about the involvement of the trooper incident, and there's 2 deaths within that case. We have a second case, non-related to this trooper incident, that involved a fatality, and I will speak later about that.
And that was north or south? We were here south.
I can confirm in a bit about that, okay? If you guys have anything else in English, I'm gonna resume in Spanish.
Just one more question. We had seen some pictures of a sheriff's deputy patrol car that was also mangled near where the white Kia was found. Is this related to that incident, and is that deputy okay?
No, ma'am. We spoke to the sheriff's office, and that incident is unrelated to our trooper's death or the crash.
What is the suspect in charge of?
I'm sorry?
What is the suspect being charged with? The felon who's fleeing.
He's a person of interest and he's being questioned. So right now he's in temporary custody until we can confirm what charges we would proceed with.
Do you have the name of the truck driver who died?
We're not releasing that information as we need to speak to his family for next of kin.
And as far as the direction that the suspect and Trooper Fink was traveling, was northbound in the southbound lanes?
He was traveling northbound in the southbound lanes of Interstate 95.
And that's also the direction that the suspect fled in after the initial accident between the semi-truck driver and
He continued traveling the wrong way on I-95 and then exited.
One more question for me. Because there was a second incident where troopers and obviously deputies had to pursue that white Kia instead of staying at the scene of the accident, was that difficult responding to that with more resources being devoted towards that chase?
That's a question with that department that we need to take place with St. Lucie Sheriff's Office, and they could further assist you with that. Our focus here is the incident that occurred with our officer.
Do you mind walking us through once again how he collided with the semi-truck? He was making a U-turn on 95 and the truck collided with the trooper, is that correct?
The suspect vehicle made a U-turn on I-95 to travel the wrong way, in which Trooper Fink made a U-turn and was struck by a semi-tractor trailer near mile marker 120 southbound at approximately 2:57 in attempt to apprehend the subject vehicle, and also make aware of the traffic that was also traveling to avoid another collision.
And then someone picked up the chase from there and chased him several miles until he hit a tree.
The other troopers who were also within the pursuit continued traveling to apprehend this fleeing subject.
And how far was that before we took off? Is it several miles or just pretty?
It's about 2 miles off the interstate, or less than 2 miles.
Was the fleeing subject who collided with the tree, was he injured and taken to a hospital too?
He's currently in custody. He doesn't appear to have any serious bodily injuries.
Is that at the St. Lucie County Jail?
Unknown at this time, ma'am.
And do we know why he was fleeing in the first place?
We do not at this time. That's still under investigation.
Do we know what caused him to leave that tree?
He was traveling a vehicle very recklessly, fleeing from law enforcement, and lost control of his vehicle.
The vehicle was stolen.
At this time, this vehicle was not reported stolen.
When you say driving recklessly, obviously we know that he was driving at one point twice the speed limit, but does that mean he was also swerving on the road? What does reckless mean?
He was traveling the wrong way on I-95. That's reckless enough.
And what mile marker did you say that this took place around?
Approximately 120th mile marker. Okay, I am going to resume now the press for Spanish. Ready? Hola, mi nombre es Teniente Indiana Miranda del Departamento de Florida Highway Patrol, el Departamento de Patrulleros de la Florida. Hoy estamos aquí reunidos para dejarles saber que uno de los policías de nosotros, o patrulleros, perdió la vida trabajando, intentando de parar a uno de los sujetos que estaba en sí corriendo o de otra agencia. Esa agencia es St. Lucie Sheriff's Office. Inició un stop de tráfico para ese sujeto, en cual ese sujeto trató de evitar o parar, cuando en sí ellos terminaron ese pare, y entonces llamaron al Florida Highway Patrol para ver si lo podíamos asistir. Nosotros empezamos a asistirlos y confirmamos que estábamos atrás de ese vehículo. Ese vehículo empezó a manejar en una forma errática, estaba sobre el speed limit, y entonces nuestro policía trató de intentar parar ese vehículo. Ese vehículo entonces inició o entró las líneas de la I-95 sur, en cuanto hizo un U-turn o dobló el carro y empezó a manejar vía contraria en la I-95 sur, y estaba manejando a vía norte. Nuestro trooper intentó parar este carro y también hizo un U-turn, cuando afortunadamente chocó el vehículo de policía de él con un tractor trailer o un camión. Nuestro policía, el nombre de él es Trooper Zachary Fink. Él empezó a trabajar con nosotros o se graduó de la clase 146 en el año 2020. Inicialmente él fue asignado a la tropa D en Orlando, cuando unos meses atrás, casi un año, fue transferido para la tropa L de Port St. Lucie. Trooper Fink deja a su mamá, a su papá también, y a su novia que este año planeaban casarse. Afortunadamente, esto es uno de los casos que es bien difícil para nosotros expresar o para hablar sobre. Le quiero agradecer a todos los departamentos que nos asistió en esta investigación y nos siguen asistiendo para traer la justicia y poder captar a quien causó todo esto en el día de hoy. También le queremos dar a la familia del chofer del camión que falleció en resultado de esta llamada, dejarles saber que sentimos su dolor también. Nosotros también estamos dolidos de todo lo que ha sucedido y le prometemos a ellos y a la comunidad que sí vamos a traer justicia en lo que sucedió esta mañana. En este momento tenemos a un sujeto que es una persona de interés. En este caso le estamos haciendo preguntas, estamos tratando de también obtener más evidencia para confirmar que él fue el involucrado en este accidente. Y cuando recibimos la información o tenemos más información sobre eso, le vamos a dejar saber a ustedes de la investigación. Sí.
En este caso, estaban hablando, desafortunadamente, hubo 3 muertes, la del trooper, la del conductor del Raptam y esta tercera persona. ¿En qué momento de toda la situación perdió la vida?
Esta tercera persona es un caso totalmente separado al caso del policía y el camionero. Esto sucedió aproximadamente a las 6:30 de la mañana, 3 horas después de lo que sucedió con nuestro policía y el camionero.
Un caso totalmente aislado.
Exacto, pero bien cerca de la misma escena donde sucedió esto. I have the information for you guys for the other press release. Voy a hablar de ese segundo caso, lo voy a decir en inglés y si quieres te lo digo en español también. Okay, we're also here today. We had a secondary fatal crash that occurred this morning at 6:35 a.m. The location was northbound interstate, approximately 3,000 feet from Gatlinburg Boulevard within the city limits of Port St. Lucie. All northbound lanes of Interstate 95 are still closed as of this time. Vehicle 1 involved in this investigation was a Toyota Venza station wagon, blue in color, 2009. Vehicle 2 was a 2009 Freightliner Cascadia tractor trailer with a flatbed trailer in the tow. And Vehicle 3 was a 2012 red Mazda M5 minivan. Vehicle 2, the tractor trailer, was stopped in traffic ahead when Vehicle 1, the Toyota Venza, was approaching from the rear and failed to stop in time and rear-ended that tractor trailer. That caused Vehicle 2 to rotate counterclockwise. As a result of that, the debris of that vehicle and the tractor trailer collided with a third vehicle, which was the Mazda van, red in color. Vehicle 1, which was our Toyota Venza, came to final rest in a northeastern direction while partially occupying that grass median. Vehicle 3 entered the area of the collision between the two vehicles as well and was struck by all the debris as stated. The driver in this incident, who was pronounced deceased on scene, is a 74-year-old white male from Jupiter, Florida. And he was vehicle 1, the driver of that 2009 blue Toyota Venza, who failed to see that stopped tractor trailer ahead of him. Any more information on this case, it can take up to 120 days. It is a traffic homicide investigation, and you can always obtain that by visiting our crash portal and entering that case number. That case number is FHP 24ON 0054809.
That has nothing to do with what happened earlier.
This is non-related.
Are you able to say if the other 2 drivers were injured at all?
At this time, on the report, it says that they had no reported injuries, driver 2 or driver 3. And driver 2 was a 59-year-old white male from Miami, Florida. And driver 3 was a 35-year-old black male from Port St. Lucie, Florida. And both had no reported injuries.
The age of the truck driver who died, have you mentioned that yet?
Wait.
It's a different incident now?
Okay, yes, sir. We're talking about a different incident. Any other questions related to this fatality? ¿Quiere que te lo diga en español? ¿No lo necesita?
No tiene nada que ver, no
Okay.
quiero mezclar a la gente, no quiero confundirla con...
Okay, no hay problema. Okay. Any other questions, guys? All right.
So can you just give
I'm
us
sorry.
the age or address?
We don't have the information on the truck driver, and we're waiting to do next of kin, so we'd rather not release information until that has been confirmed.
What was he carrying in the truck?
We don't have that information at this time, sir. We're not disclosing anything other than he was involved and is deceased.
Did his truck catch fire?
I'm sorry?
Did the semi-truck catch fire?
I have no information on that.
Did the trooper's vehicle catch fire?
We have no information on that either.
You said that this was the 50th state trooper lost the line of duty when, I guess since when?
Director Kerner said that in his statement, and you can look at our line of duty death in our site, so I won't give you the wrong information on that. But our last state trooper was, we had Bullock, and that was in 2020. That was February 5th of 2020, the last line of duty death, and that was also in Martin County in the Treasure Coast. Any other questions? Thank you so much.